G'day guys, got a couple of detectors, well the boards of them, sitting here. This one here is a GPZ-7000 and this one is the GPX-6000. And what we've had is people with problems with these detectors, and I'll show you the simple ones that what's been happening and catching people out. This is for a fellow, well, he's having hassles over in Argentina. I think he's in Argentina, somewhere over there anyway. And he was saying that on the 6000 it kept coming up with a fault, like no coil, but the coil's connected, it's a proper coil, and it continually bumps it or whatever, and it basically says that there's no coil connected. I'll show you what it is. Basically, on these boards, you've got to get the data to this through a couple of resistors here, but it's through this connector here. But you got to remember, it starts off here, goes through this brown cable down there. It's got a little bit of housekeeping in here, but then goes on to here, one of the end pins on this gadget, on this connector, and that connector goes in here. Now these are all held together, as you can see, by these plastic pins, and they're okay, but for something with a fine tolerance like this connector and the other connector, what happens is that you can get about 0.5 millimeter movement, and this can make and break. So when it breaks the connection just by movement, the detector will say there's no coil connector, it's not getting the data through to the CPU, and it falls over, and you turn it on, turn it off, it'll probably work again until you flex this part of the board. So basically they clipped together, like you see how it goes together with those two, and these things here, basically these white things, hold it in place. If you're careful, you can take these out, get rid of them, make sure there's nothing around here that's electrically connected, and put a small 6BA type nut and bolt. Don't have extended thread, make sure it stays the right size. And if you do all that around these things, you can put a little washer where the nut goes and where the head of the screw goes, just so you do not short anything out at all. So you can do that. That is not a problem as far as I would see, because I've noticed on the later ones of these, it's exactly what they're doing. They're putting screws in instead of having the plastic connectors. Now 7000 is a little bit different. It doesn't have that problem as such, but what can happen on these, you see the connectors on these, they're big long pins. You're not going to have that issue. You can probably pull them halfway out, still connect. But it does have the wobble pins, right? The interconnects for the boards. So, but it's not an issue on these. What the issue on these are, right? You're going to think this is funny. Okay, on here, on the connector assembly, you have this push-in connector, and I'm not joking. I'll try and do it. I'll see if I can make it happen, but it only goes in one way. You don't want to stuff it up. When these go in, right, and you push them in like so, can you see the metal there of those pins? Sometimes when this connector goes in, the pins actually nearly push out and they're just touching. Okay, I found this on a couple of detectors, and I'll just show you, like I just push that in and it's pushed the wires up. In some of these you can actually probably possibly, I've had them actually come out. Yeah, look at that. That one there is right up, that grey one. But you can pull them sometimes. The damn thing, the pins come out, but depends how they're crimped over. But anyway, you don't want that looking like that. Get something, this is probably too fat, but I just grabbed it off the bench. Hang on, I'll grab something more. Here we go. I'll grab these tweezers. Now, just make sure the connector is in. And when you see these and any of them are popping out, what you do, probably not, I'll grab them because how do we push? You push them right in, see that? I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at what I'm doing. But you can push them in like so. Now, so they're all going all the way in. You want a good connection on these because it may, notice I always say it may, not that it will, cause issues. Now, the thing is, I'll show you another idea what you can do with these. This is probably a better idea. Now it won't come out because I've done that. There we go. But yeah, as soon as you pull it out, look, see they're all out again? You can see the metal there. But what you do, stick them all in hard, push them in hard. I usually use a sharp object to do this, but for some reason, I've never done it with the tweezers before, but I'm doing it. Get them all in where they're meant to go, like so. Okay. Give them all a bit of good push in there. Now, they're all in there like how they're meant to be. They'll just revert to hot melt glue gun, which has seen better days, of course, because it gets used all the time. But without pulling on any of those cables, that, and don't get it in the actual connector, that would be a disaster. Hang on a sec. I need something to poke them. I don't think I've poked them in hard enough with the tweezer. I'll use the end of a file. I'll get in there. I'll get in there with my 4 eyes and do it properly because, yeah, any stress on it wants to pop out again. Okay. While they're in there like so, without pulling on it, get ye old hot melt glue gun and put a bead of glue. It's a flicker on my fingers. Put a bead of glue holding the wires in place and do it both sides. Just touch the plastic like so, and that'll stop that from ever happening, hopefully. So they all want to pull on each other. They're amazing, these things. But yeah, push them in. Just make sure that they all go in properly. There we go. While the hot melt glue's still tacky. Yeah, and just let that set like that, and they can't crawl out. It is possible that it could be a issue. Yeah. Never had a problem with these mylars on these. Usually pretty good. The overall, the main one of the issues, the back connector here on these. It's only, I think they got a little bit of grey plastic they glue on as well, which is a part of the guide. And that's it. That Yeah, even if you just replaced that, yeah, but you really want to do something here so it holds down and keeps that locked in. Um, Always make sure don't get any dirt or anything in there. If you're doing anything with these detectors and you do hot melt glue, make sure the strands, because you don't make stringy little strands, if it gets in there, it's going to get on the contacts and it won't connect and you won't know what's going on. So, yeah, just be careful with doing anything on these boards. Yeah, that's the main thing that you're going to have trouble with. There's not much else that can go wrong. Just keep dirt, grot, and grime out of the connectors. With anything like this, like you want to clean it up, use a good old isopropyl alcohol. If you wanted to clean these on your detector, you'd probably go spray it in and then let it just drip out. If it's got any contaminants in there, it'll just come out with the isopropyl. Give it a bit more of a blast. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. And yeah, keep them nice and clean. And don't use the isopropyl, the 70%, because the other 30% is water. You don't want to put water in your connectors. Get 100% isopropyl because it does totally dry and you won't have any hassles whatsoever. And yeah, give it a bit of a wipe there of the cotton bud, just dry it off perfectly. A little bit of moisture or a little bit of isopropyl. I was going to say moisture, it's not moisture, but it will attract water if you leave it there long enough. But yeah, fixed. Clean the threads. If you're going to clean the threads on these, because for some reason, I don't know if it's the Loctite they use or whatever, but it always has a green tinge. And I don't know if that's water that just settles there on the outside of the case and gets in. Like I say, I don't know. But what I'll do, I'll get some circuit board cleaner or something of that nature. Just put it on the end of the cotton bud. Get it all over my fingers. It's probably carcinogenic, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a Loctite in there. Yeah, it's built up as a Loctite. Yeah, it's sort of green crystalline stuff, but it's far back on the main thread anyway. You have a look at the gunk that just comes off the threads. Keep the threads clean. Don't scratch them up with anything, just like so. And you'll see that it's quite gunky. You remember the outside is an electrical connection. Just keep them all clean. So yeah, I think on our DetectorMod site, I don't know if we still sell it. We used to make coil oil, and what it was a clean up lubrication for coil connectors, and it used large particle um, silicon like a cyclomethicone type thing, and because of the way this was formulated, you wouldn't pick up dirt. It doesn't stick to dirt, but it keeps a very slight lubrication on the pins, and it doesn't really add any resistance or anything because the contact pressure is too great for that anyway. And just made the whole connectors cleaner, and they go on better rather than sometimes a bit graunchy. They're just really smooth on and off. So yeah, that was the idea behind that. Yeah, we called it coil oil, even though it's not meant to oil your coil. But if you called it plug oil, no one would know what it was. Yeah, give some of these connectors a bit of a clean. I mean, they're pretty dirty and horrible. But there you go. Clean those up. You can even isopropyl these if you really wanted to. Not that it's necessary. I wouldn't use any other type of solvent on those. I wouldn't even use circuit board cleaner because you don't know what the plastics are. Sometimes these are, thermoformed and they're, expanded, and might have an adverse effect and melt it, something like that. You never know. It's probably made to have solvents put on, but always be wary because if you did melt down one of those connectors, you're gonna have a hard time probably trying to get another one unless you can find. Right, when I've tried to order these, actually, I've ordered sets of these because I'm making jumper cables so I can work on the boards in a separated state. Because otherwise, they're going to be clipped together and you can't work on anything. You don't know what's doing what. You can't find dry joints or anything on the other side of the boards. So you've got to make up stuff. Sometimes they're on a long shipment from China. They haven't even arrived yet. It says that they're at our they're in the country. I think they've lost them actually. So yeah, those there. I think they're a strange size, but someone in China had them, which is probably made for some particular company and they're going out the back door or something. I don't know, but yeah, they're on AliExpress. So these, can't remember what they are. Count the pins, and they've got to be exactly the same. And yeah, just make up a ribbon cable that'll go from here to there to there. Not too long. There is data, and if you um, have the cables too long, you'll probably get data corruption, and the thing won't turn on. It'll say there's no coil because they do use buffer chips on this board to that board. Um, so it's actually so you can hook up multiple dongles. I think you probably the double D and the mono one. Yeah. Anyway, I looked at that probably a couple of months ago, and there's not much you can do about the encryption. It's pretty severe encryption. The only way you can get around the encryption is completely um, forward engineer the functionality around the processor and put your own processor in there and leave everything else is. But that would be a big job, a big job and a half. You'd be there for a year trying to do that with a team of 10 people. So probably not very cost effective. Anyway, that's the problems that go on with these. This is the main problem is that damn connector there and there. Like I say, plastic with slop doesn't cut the mustard. It doesn't. Um, yeah, it doesn't work the best. The other way you can do it, the simple way of doing it, is just when the boards are put together, stick a rubber band or a lacquer band or whatever you want to call it, a rubber band around it to hold it tight. You can do that. That has worked. I did a field repair like that for someone, and the detector worked fine. Because yeah, what happens is you're walking along, and any bumping of the coil sends shock waves from the coil up the shaft into the detector, and it can dislodge um, the connectors here if they're sloppy. Okay, that's just what they are. We know damn well why Mindlab put nuts and bolts in there in the later versions. I don't think they did it for looks. It's more expensive to do. These things are dirt cheap. Nut and bolts more expensive. So why did they do that? To hold the board steady, and that is the reason. So a lot of these early ones that are out there will have these little. They're called standoffs, but I'm calling them wobbly things, because they do wobble, and yeah, you can improve it just by removing a couple. You got to be careful. There's one here. It's actually come out on that side of the board, and there is componentry around there, so just got to be careful. Got to make sure there's a clearance. You don't put a big head on there as it touches, um, that test point there or something like that. You'll blow your detector up. You've got to make sure. Even on this, if you have a look here, you can see that there's well, I don't know if you can see, but there's through plates there, and you can see through plates, they're covered up, they're tented over with resist. But if you put a screw head and it actually went down on that or touched that, it could have issues. And on the top part of it there, I don't know if you can see it, you can see the circuit tracks there. So you just got to be careful. Componentry around there, you just got to be careful what you do. You know, one's down here, you know, or that one there even. It's got plenty of clearance around it, you know, but then go on the side of the board and have a good look. Looks like there's clearance, but you know, you don't know what lurks under the solder resist. Too much tension, it might go through, and you know, could have an issue. So that's that. But, yeah, I don't know of any other way of doing it. Nut and bolt's the best, but I would use the little tiny fibrous washers. They're usually a brown color for some reason, and they're in every Japanese transistor radio I've ever worked on over the years. And anything with sandwich boards, they usually put these fibrous washers there. Don't use metal washers; that'll be a disaster. But just a fibrous little round thing. I haven't got any. You could, yeah, you could probably make your own out of gasket material or something like that. All you do is get something that is not going to short anything out, something made of plastic or any non-conductive material. You know, you can even use cardboard. Okay, cardboard works. I've done that before too. But cutting out little circles of cardboard can be quite difficult. So that's that. Where these 7000 has to be modified and upgraded and made to behave itself a little bit better than what the customer tells me how it's been behaving. Speaking of behaving, I'm well, this is just a little bit of information to you prospectors who are having noise issues with your 6000s. Yeah, we had I think I did a video. We had a customer. The detector was noisy as and wouldn't behave. Now I did a video there with its the coil it came with, and he had two spare coils as well. And he put those coil. Well, I put the coil on. It was noisy as hell. He put his own coils on. It was noisy as hell. And the coils gradually got worse and worse and worse. They got noisier. And I stuck the coil tech, wherever it's called, the was it Gold Hawk or whatever it is, on the detector, and the whole thing shut up. It absolutely just behaved itself perfectly, which tells me there's something. Well, you work it out for yourself. It just tells me there's something funny going on. Okay, something strange, or something. But I think it does come back to copper plated alloys, what the coil windings are made of, and it's something to do in that neck of the woods. There's a few interesting things about that, but I'm not going to mention it because experts should know better. So, you know, I'm not here to educate the corporates. They can educate themselves. And this is just for prospectors, for guys that are competent enough to want to do some work on their own detectors, preferably out of warranty. I'll just say that, preferably out of warranty. Yeah, basically. So, all good, all good. And yeah, I'll get stuck into these anyway, and should be good when finished. But yeah, a lot of work goes into doing one of those. Got to be careful, very precise, and yeah, it will be good when finished. So that's that. All the rest is going to be waffle. So I'm signing off. Catch us later.